Gary Vee is always like, I hate these life coaches, these 20-year-old life coaches. What can you possibly teach me, 20-year-old life coach? Right? So you probably had that voice in the back of your head.
No, I'll tell you something. I didn't have that voice in the back of my head. I had that voice literally talking to me, because in episode 33 or 34 of Ask Gary Vee, way back, I sent in a clip and it got featured. And the video is called Personal Branding something something, I don't know. Привет, Gary! My name's Raphael. I run a personal development YouTube channel. My question to you is, what would you do if you were starting over and building your personal brand all over again? Basically getting the name Gary Vee out there all over again in this day and age. What would you do to go out there and really spread the word and to get yourself known?
I love this question, and boy, I'm gonna set up, do I have a really good answer for this? Because you, and thanks for the question, and every other youngster needs to hear this really, really loud and clear. And this is not being disrespectful, because I was a 22-year-old genius business person in my mind because of what I did. But I would do exactly what I did, which is for the first 10 years of my professional career, I didn't say a damn thing.
And in that clip, Gary Vee shows me asking for personal branding advice, and then he rips me a new one. And I got directly torn to little pieces, and it was the best thing ever, man. You know, the thing was, at that stage, I already had a successful business that probably just hit 6 figures, I think, around that time. And I already had a bunch of clients that loved me. And actually on that video on Facebook, and I think on the YouTube video as well, people stepped in and were like, you don't actually know Raphael, like he's actually really good and he gets results and he's awesome. And you know, you shouldn't assume all of this just because he's young. That's kind of really silly. Like he has, I think at that point I probably already had at least 1,000 hours of coaching done, if not more, which is more than even people that are certified and 50 years old starting life coaching. So it's interesting, but yeah, it was a tough one because in the very beginning, before Gary Vee, that thing wasn't such a big deal because I had already got the experience. But before that, family, friends, you know, when I started just saying, look, you don't know what you're talking about. Like you have no experience, go to school, get a job, and then you can start doing this stuff. And the truth is the market doesn't care. And you'll hear Gary say this too, and you'll hear all the business gurus say this. The market does not care. Here's what the market cares about. Do you have value? Can you solve a problem? Can you help somebody for real? Can you sell? Can you sell? If you cannot sell, you cannot deliver, right? So you need to know all those things. I built those skills, I got paid. It's that simple.
So how old were you when you decided to become a coach?
18.
18, right? So you hadn't gone to college, you just knew that, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to help people live better lives.
Right. I mean, when I was 18, I got into self-improvement really deep. I was already into it when I was 16, but at 18, I decided this is something I want to do with my life. And I had done an exchange student year in the UK. I'm from Norway, so I traveled over there, basically left all my friends, everything. It was crazy. It felt like a really big deal at the time. You can imagine, you're like 16 years old and 16, 17. And so I went over there, you know, met my soulmate, basically amazing. My girlfriend, been together for 6 years. And yeah, at that time, I mean, it was just, it was like knowing that this was something that really resonated with me and it was something powerful. It was the thing I was most excited about. And that's how you know, it was a joy. And that's when I decided, yes, this is something. I just knew I like self-help. That's what I knew. And I started getting coaching. I paid for it. I didn't have the money. I worked the job as a janitor when we came back to Norway together. It was embarrassing. Like my friends knew, family knew, this is what I was doing to pay for the coaching and pay to build my brand. And so I paid my dues for sure, and I paid them hard. And I lived on very little and yeah, I sacrificed.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how was it for you? I mean, you're this kid, right? Trying to build a coaching business. You're cleaning the floors in your school where you went to, and you're talking to people about success, right? How did you go through that? Because I'm sure that people were like, are you crazy? Like, don't you see your life? How can you talk about success when you're mopping floors in the school?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't talking about success. I wasn't talking about being famous or making millions of dollars. I never pretended to be someone I'm not. I didn't lie or bullshit people, and that's the big thing. You know, I didn't go, oh, I'm the expert. I never said that. I just made videos based on questions that people were asking, right? I just looked up stuff on forums and I was like, oh, people need help with this? Like, let me try it.
Yeah.
you know? And then I saw questions in comments of like a video that was popular, and I would reply. That was me. Every day. I would look, I actually cared about people. It wasn't like, oh, hey, look at me, I'm a life coach. No, people get the wrong impression. And I think that's probably why, you know, someone like Gary prejudged it, because he didn't realize, like, I was coming from humbleness. I wasn't trying to be the authority. I was building my personal brand in a way where, hey, look, if you need help with something, let me try my best. That was me, right? And then now I'm an expert. Now people pay me a lot of money. Now, you know, companies will pay me huge sums to work with them. I have clients that will fly me out. You know, I've spent 30 days with a client in person. He cracked 7 figures with his real estate company, like crazy stuff, you know, amazing clients. I love working with them. You know, I worked with the guy that runs the highest rated dog training company in the United States. Incredible people, like amazing. But at that time, I wasn't working with those people. At that time, I was working with, you know, someone who needed accountability in going and doing their meditation and, you know, reading. And that was my niche. It was like accountability coaching. So I wasn't trying to say, hey, I'm an expert, I know everything. I was more like, hey, you know what you should be doing, but you're not doing it. Let me help you do it. That's it. I'm not gonna pretend that I know what's right. I'm just gonna help you do what you're doing. I'm gonna help you stick to your word. That was my phrase. I was like, I help you actually do the things you said you would. That was it.
And the things that you know that you should be doing, because you already know.
I'm not the expert. I'm not. You got it. I'm not telling you that I know, because I don't. But I know that you know, and I kind of know. So let me help you do it, and that's it. Isn't that kind of what a personal trainer is?
I love that so much. I love that so much. And you know, I've personally been guilty of kind of, you know, my girlfriend is like, no, you never did that. You never positioned yourself as something you're not. But I feel that I kind of did it, you know, that I felt that I needed to position myself as knowing more than I did.
Yeah.
Just to kind of compensate for what I discovered is exactly what you're saying. Like, instead of positioning yourself as this expert, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and saying, look, I don't know everything. You know what you need to do. I'm just here to help. Let me help. I love that. I love that. Service, not expertise. Coaching is a relationship business. It's not about doing a funnel. Stop your click funnels. Okay, I'm sorry, this is controversial, but it's true. Cancel your subscription, cancel your website, cancel all your social media. And here's what I want you to do if you want coaching clients. Talk to people. Talk to them, genuinely care about them, see what they need help with. And if you have the audacity to think that in some way you could maybe help them a little bit, offer them a free 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour session where you just give. And I know this is controversial because you should have the funnel, but if you're starting out and that's what you're asking me, don't do any of that. It's stupid. It's still, even today, people don't like being sold stuff. Just give value, build a relationship, show that you can genuinely contribute. And now, hey, would you like to work with me? Is this nice? Do you like this? And that's humble. It's not being an expert. Hey, okay, let's do this now. Visa or MasterCard. Like the Cardone close or whatever. And I love it. Like, it's great stuff. Don't get me wrong. Sales is awesome. But you've got to have context and you've got to build value for real, not pretend to build value on a video where you say, hey, I'm the expert and listen to me. I never did that. I only leverage real stuff that I actually did now because people would still think like, oh, who is this kid, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll leverage it a little bit. But even then, I stay away from it. Like, I could easily drive a fancy sports car and I don't. I could have easily bought it cash, not leasing it, Mr. Internet Marketer. I can buy it straight. I don't have a problem, right? I was gonna do that. And then I realized that's silly. Be authentic, do this real stuff. And that's, don't be one of these guys, because I hate that stuff. It's so obnoxious and you're just fronting and you're trying to look cool. Do you ever have like somebody teach you or coach you in sales, saying that you need to close immediately, like ask these qualifying questions and then you immediately close the person, get the money and then start coaching them?
Yeah, I do that now. Sounds contradicting, right? But no, I had people tell me that right from the get-go. It's a mistake. Yeah. And once you have value, you can do it. I can do that now. I don't have to talk to anybody who can afford to work with me. What's the point, right? But I'll still do it. I still give the value calls. I still do. Why? Because it's a mindset of being in relationships. And sometimes I do a straight sales call. Like, let's say I have a high-end client, he's paying 10K a month. And he says, look, I got this guy. you know, he wants to get a coach, and you're the best guy, you know, I've ever worked with, and I've had like 7 different coaches. So how about this? How about you work with him? I say, yeah, okay. Tell him to call me or tell him to email me. So I make him reach out to me, and then I set the call, and I'll probably close in that call. Why? Because I have leverage, I have positioning, I have all these things, and I don't need to do this anymore because the value is already built. The person is already sold for, I don't need, but if they don't have that context, you can't sell. Stop selling with your ClickFunnels thing. Someone watched 2 videos of yours, and then you're like, I'm looking for 3 more of my dream clients. Sure you are, and everybody else, right? Okay, yeah, I'll click on your schedule, and then they talk to you and they just know you're full of it. And nobody wants to buy that. Actually build relationships with you. If you're new, if you have a lot of experience, you know, if you've been working for me like 5 years, you know, coaching, I have 9,000 hours of coaching logged. 9,000. Okay, you can charge straight away if you really want to. And even now, I'm reluctant. I still do the free calls. I still don't close a lot of the time. I leave so much money on the table. And, you know, I learned that from people like Gary, like, just leave money on the table and be a nice person. Guess what? Later on, you'll make more. Hey, just wanted to hop in here and say that if you're enjoying my videos and you would like to take your life to the next level, I invite you to hop on a free 30-minute call with me by going to ringraphael.com. If you want to speak to me personally and get a customized strategy and game plan and some real advice to help you progress and really grow tremendously, exponentially, again, just go to ringraphael.com. That way you can schedule our session and I can talk to you very, very soon.
This is stuff that you learn from a lot of people, but and I don't personally think it's wrong because it really worked for them. It has to do a lot with your character and just trying different things and figuring out what is your preferred style. And I like this idea a lot. But the rationale behind this type of selling for everybody listening in is that if you give too much value on the call, then the person will feel like that they got the solution to their problems, and then they're gonna say, you know what, I know what I need to do. I don't need to hire you. That's like they're thinking in the back of their heads, and they're not gonna apply anything because they didn't sign up for your coaching.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Let me bust that myth right now. Total BS. Here's why. Because if you're really a good coach, you can make someone invest emotionally in you without them paying you a single dollar. 100%. Yeah. You know why? Because look at somebody who's big and on social, and watch how many thank you messages they get from people that never even got coaching from them, watched the video, went and implemented, and became a millionaire. I have those people. I have people that email me that. They never even got a session. So you're telling me if you get one-on-one with somebody, you can't get them a result? They invested their time. What kind of bullshit is that? Like, I'm sorry, but it's true. It's just an excuse for you to try to sell all the time. It's just a rationalization to say, oh, you need people to pay right away. And the truth is, in coaching, it's a relationship. And if you don't have a relationship, you don't have no money. And even if they buy from you, they'll know 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. My clients stay with me for 4 or 5 years. Listen to me. I really want this to click for people. I don't go through churn rate. I don't have, oh, next month I need to get 5 new people because, oh my God, my list is empty. I keep people because I really, really, really get results. And that's all that matters. And so of course there are people that will take that free call and do nothing with it, even though you poured it on, even though you tried to get them to connect. Yes, but it's a small price to pay.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. What was some of your biggest challenges in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, just the fears, the limiting beliefs, you know it for sure. I mean, you've probably gone through it yourself. Like, maybe you feel like an imposter. So it's about, what I say is, don't try to just get over it. That's what people will tell you on the internet. It's like, get over yourself and just do it anyway. No, change the approach to what feels real and authentic. That's what I did. Instead of just getting over it, like, condition yourself for success. Incantations are great. I love self-improvement. I use it.
So you make it.
But I make it normal. I don't make it weird. I don't make it weird to get a client, because if it's weird to get a client, then now you're reaching. And if you're reaching, nobody wants to work with you.
Can you describe that? What do you mean, like, weird to get a client?
Right? It's because you're not bringing enough value. It would be, if you don't do, if you try to close on the first call, it feels weird. You ever had a tension where it's like, you try to close and it doesn't, and you're like, and now you gotta handle objections? That's when you messed up. I'm not saying don't handle objections. You can still use those skills. But if there's a lot of resistance, you might say, oh, it's that other person. Ask yourself this: how well do they know me, first of all? Have they been watching for a year? Because if that's the case, okay, then you should probably close. But if the case is they watched like 3 videos, got on the call because it was free, and now you're trying to, you know, get them to commit $5,000 a month, I wonder what's wrong. You know, like, yeah, oh yeah, just close. Like, okay, sure.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's just like getting on a date. Like the person has never met you, and you're like, oh, do you want to get married?
Yeah, let's just do it now. Yeah, and they're like, no, I'd like to get to know you better first. And then you go, all right, I'm gonna objection handle this. Yeah, you're like, actually, I agree with you. I'm on your team. But however, consider this. If we get married now, you'll get half my net worth. How does that sound? Like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's ridiculous.
I love that. How did you overcome like all of the beliefs that you initially had about yourself and, you know, about how the world should be? I mean, guys, definitely go and check out Raphael's YouTube channel. And I know he's probably not going to like it, but go scroll down, watch his first video. Watch his first, because you know why? Because I love it so much, because you're going to see 2 totally different people, right?
Yeah.
You're going to see Raphael starting out, and it's not only that there's absolutely no light in that video, right? You are actually in the process of allowing the light from your heart to shine through more in your life, and you see like a total difference because you just started out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you know, the thing is, honestly, like, it's just practice, right? You're not good at something when you start. And so that's the whole thing about trying to be an authority. That's the whole thing about imposter syndrome. That's the whole thing about beginning as a coach. You know, you're not good. And so you just got to work at it. And so you're right. I was being authentic to who I was then. I was try-harding. I mean, you can see on the video, I'm like, all right, fucking blah blah blah, you know, I'm like swearing and being weird. It's like really awkward.
I've never done that.
Oh no, never? Oh yeah, you're above it, right? Yeah, no, it's, you know,
we're all doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, exactly. And I even do it now. What, am I above it now? I'm not above it. I still do weird stuff that makes no sense. I was, you know, I just hired like a bunch of people, and my team is expanding and my business is growing. It's amazing. But what I was doing before, it was so stupid. I was like trying to, you know, do everything myself. Like, oh, let me do the Facebook post, and let me do the YouTube, and let me do, you know, LinkedIn and Instagram, and do this. Yeah. Now I have team members for each platform. And then I just manage and train them. And it's like, you just do dumb stuff. People do dumb stuff, and then you learn. Hopefully you have enough awareness to notice that you're being stupid, or, you know, God forbid, you actually hired a coach, right? And they actually helped you go, hey, here's how you're being an idiot. Do this instead, and then you're going to be happy and fulfilled, and you're going to do well. Who would have known, right?
For people starting out and, you know, who are trying to build and select their audiences, how did you select your audience, and how did you find topics for your videos?
Great question. Yeah, I think it's actually fairly easy. You just look at who you could help the most. Instead of trying to think, here's my ideal client because they have the money, which is the biggest mistake everybody makes. I'm gonna go target 6-figure earners and coaches because they have money, so I'm gonna teach them how to get clients, but I've never gotten them myself. I hate that so much. It makes me feel sick to my stomach. I'm sorry, it's right. Yes. But if you know how to help them, awesome. If you don't do it, you know, just do something else. But if you are doing it and you're successful, great. Maybe if you're gonna do that, here's my suggestion. If you wanna target a high ideal client and you think that's who you can help the most, and they have more money to spend and whatever, you can charge them more, don't charge them more right away. Charge less, be humble, give service, get results, work your ass off like legitimately, and then they will praise you and talk about you, and you'll get infinite clients. So the focus is not so important to say who you're gonna help based on your ideas of what you think the market needs. It's get out of your head and start talking to people and say, what's your biggest problem in your life? What are you struggling with? Ask 5 friends, and maybe out of them you can identify one person that would be perfect to work with. Maybe out of 20 people, go to a networking event, ask these questions, genuinely care about people and be interested. That's the best way. And the same thing goes for content strategy. I don't go around going, oh, here's the best video that I think will serve the universe. I mean, by all means, I'm not against that. I still have that feeling in my heart, but I combine that with what's a real question someone asked me? What's a real question someone is asking me? You know, what's something that someone is actually struggling with and they need help, they don't have a solution yet. Because if you're just solving a problem that's already been solved, like top 10 self-help books to read, that's cool. You can make a video like that and get some views, and that's awesome. I'm not bashing it. But what I am saying is, if you really want to serve somebody, think about what they really need. What are their pain points, you know, and again, identify who can help most. That's the key. Hey, just wanted to hop in here and say that if you're enjoying my videos and you would like to take your life to the next level, I invite you to hop on a free 30-minute call with me by going to ringraphael.com. If you want to speak to me personally and get a customized strategy and game plan and some real advice to help you progress and really grow tremendously, exponentially, again, just go to ringraphael.com. That way you can schedule our session and I can talk to you very, very soon.
And I love what you're saying. Just getting in touch with people, talking, getting in the comments and asking them what do they need help with, and allowing them to be your source of inspiration and the content. That's super powerful. One last question. What would you, if you had Raphael at 18 years old right now with us in a conversation, what would you say?
You know, honestly, I would say this is exactly what you need to go through. Enjoy. That would be it, because it purifies you. Like, go through the fire and you will be cleansed. It sounds like some cult thing, but it's the real stuff. Like, you need to go through this. If you're gonna be the expert right now, stop. If you think you're someone you're not, stop. If you're trying to do something that doesn't feel right to you and you know you can't really help somebody and you feel like an imposter, stop. Get good and then help. Get good and then help. Find someone to help them. Same goes for products. You know, find the product people need. Design something that people would actually use and like, and there's a gap. That's what business is, supply and demand, right? So increase your demand by making your supply better.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Yeah. And I think it takes a bit of practice as well, because in the beginning you're going to be like, am I being an imposter right now? And even if you are, you're going to feel like you're not being one, you know, and just like in initiating that internal dialogue where you know you're being honest with yourself, and when you know that you're not being honest with yourself, that takes a bit of practice too.
Yeah, it's not instant fix. It takes time, and you have to self-awareness and journal, and I used all those tools, of course, too. They're important, you know. Ask yourself, like, what am I every day I reevaluate. I go, you know, what am I really doing here? Does this make sense? Is this leading me to where I want to go? Is this really helping people on the highest level? Am I really serving who I can best serve? You got to question yourself. If you don't have a coach, especially, you need to be coaching yourself hard, you know, and you should get a coach. Everybody should have a coach. If you don't have a coach, you're weird. You're not going to be that one guy that's on social media and he's like, I never needed. That's Gary, right? Like, I never needed. That's like winning the lottery with your genetics.
But Gary admits that if he did had a coach earlier on, he would have been much further on.
Well, okay, that's great. He used to say that he never needed it and he's better off listening to his intuition. I do that too. Guess what? You can also add a coach, and now you can be, you know, me, 24 years old, and you can have this mega awesome business doing what you love, and you're making passive income, and, you know, like, you kind of famous too, which is, I mean, you know, it's silly. I don't really care about that so much, but when your speech goes viral and you get recognized in like a local store in the north of Norway, that's when you're like, okay, right, what happened here? You know, that's crazy. Yeah. But the thing is, what I realized is, like, it's 100%, you know, if you don't work with somebody that checks you and holds you accountable and challenges you to grow, then you're full of it. You know, maybe you're in an echo chamber, you know, you're just hearing the same thing over and over again, and you think it's the right thing, and you're never really expanding.
I love that. Awesome. Raphael, it's been a great pleasure sitting down and chatting, and I've personally learned a lot. And guys, let us know in the comments, what did you love the most about this talk, about this interview?